Are you wasting time or are you getting results? Hi, I'm Theresa Lear Levine, Master EFT practitioner and life coach, and I want to talk to you today about that very question because wasted time to me is like one of the worst possible things. I hate wasting time. And as somebody who works in the mindset coaching and the improvement of people's emotional health on a day-to-day basis, and as somebody who has worked through my own struggles therein, therefore coming up with great ways to help others work through theirs, I know firsthand about the time that can either feel like it's being wasted or legitimately be wasted in pursuits of greater emotional health. So traditionally, if someone is blessed to have health insurance and they need help with their emotional health, they'll seek the guidance, the guidance or help of a psychologist or a psychiatrist to talk to and do traditional talk therapy. The problem with talk therapy, and I'm definitely not bashing talk therapy here, guys, because it's majorly helpful, is that it's only marginally effective in truly resolving the issues. And that can mean that it can take a really long time to get the results that people set out to get when they first hire a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a life coach or anybody else, whether it's somebody who, you're using health insurance to access or somebody that you're paying out of pocket. There's plenty of professionals out there that employ talk therapy as their means of helping people get results. And some of them are really good at doing it and get awesome results. But a lot of times time gets wasted because it's hard to access exactly what needs help right off the bat. There's a lot of get to know you time, a lot of intake, a lot of figuring people out. And honestly, a lot of people give up on talk therapy before they get to the point of it being really effective because it's time consuming. I have seen, and the methods that I practice employ a lot of talk therapy, but we incorporate other modalities with that to make it more effective. My mode of choice being the emotional freedom technique, where we are actually tapping on parts of the body, the meridians of our energetic endpoints, to normalize the energy in the body and to release blockages physically from our body. Because anything that you're feeling, especially negative feelings in your body, and that could be physical pain, aches, headaches, things that literally are painful, or things that are emotionally painful, grief, heartache, sadness, lack of fulfillment, a lessened amount of joy or happiness in your life, anxiety, worry, shame, fear, limiting beliefs, all of these things are all energetic blockages that are associated with behaviors, repeated actions, habits, memories, traumatic events, all sorts of things. So the tapping actually helps to clear the energetic blockages while you're talking, whereas the talk therapy does not pack that same punch or go to the same depths typically of rooting out the core causes. A lot of times, and especially because of the amount of time with talk therapy that it can take to kind of peel back the layers, and we peel back layers with EFT too, don't get me wrong. It's not like you just straight to the center, but the delicacy and things that can get used a lot more with talk therapy so that you don't seem rude as a therapist or whatever, a lot of that can get worked in different ways with EFT so that you can really get in there a lot faster. And that's the way I practice. I go for what we can get rooted out as fast as possible without re-traumatization or distress so that you feel better. Because that's the reason that people seek therapy, is to feel better. We all know we can't change things that have happened or the way things are, but we want to feel better and feel more centered and calm and belonging within our energy. And that's what we seek when we're looking for these kind of therapeutic remedies. So I just want to put it out there to you that most people will go and seek out therapy from a therapist, talk therapy, and realize that it's going to take them a long time to get a benefit. Does that not seem like kind of sucky, like right off the bat to you? Because it does to me, like to think like, okay, I have this problem and I'm going to, go see a therapist for 50 minutes a week. It's an hour-long appointment, but I'm only really going to get to talk to them for 50 minutes. I'm going to probably spend 5 minutes scheduling my next appointment outside of that. And then I either have to drive to the appointment or maybe we're on Zoom, who knows. And I am well aware before I begin that this is probably going to take months, if not years, to get to the bottom of. And people like readily accept that. Like, okay, like I'm on board twice a week for the next year and I'll be doing so much better. And they might be. The problem I have with that, aside from the money, because let's say it is covered by insurance, which is the best case scenario, because a lot of people don't have that and it's not. So this is like probably a lowball number. Let's say you have an insurance copay, and let's say that there's not a limit on how many times that you can see a therapist for the year. So you're gonna go, I've got a solar powered calculator, but I don't have much light, so I gotta kind of tilt it. You're gonna go twice a week for the year, okay? There's probably gonna be some holidays in there. There's probably gonna be some sick appointments or some things that come up where like maybe you can't go that week or whatever. So let's just say 48 weeks of the year you're gonna go instead of 52. And you're gonna go twice a week. So that's 96 appointments. And let's just say you have a $40 copay. Who knows? Maybe, who knows? This is such a weird estimate. Okay, so 96 times 40, $3,840 in copays. And again, that is probably on the low side because you might have to pay out of pocket after a certain amount of appointments. You might not have insurance. You might be seeing a practitioner that only, takes cash or is out of network or whatever else. In which case, a lot of appointments are going to run you between $100 and $300 each. So that would be a lot higher. Now, and let's just say a year is what it takes. So you're feeling better about your issue, $3,840 later. And also you have to take into account those 50-minute sessions because you're going to have 96 sessions at 50 minutes. That's 4,800 minutes divided by hours. Let's just do that. That's 80 hours. 80 hours, 2 full-time work weeks spent speaking with said therapist before you take into account drive time, scheduling time, any kind of unforeseen delays or whatever else. So best case scenario, if you're on Zoom, it's right around that 80 hours. If you are going to an appointment 10, 20, 30 minutes away from home, you might even be doubling that to as much as 160 hours. Jesus, that's a lot of time. So I've gotten to the point in life where I realize that money is energy and it's abundant and replaceable. And there's a lot you can do to recreate and increase and manifest finances. But we ain't found nothing yet to recreate our time. Okay, now in my worst case scenario clients that are dealing with an issue they're trying to solve, and that's what I'm assuming for this talk therapy situation too. So there is a situation that this person is trying to deal with. It's specific, whatever. My worst case has been 8 sessions to make massive improvement on that. And so that's 8 1-hour sessions, otherwise known as 8 hours, versus 80. So 10% of the time. My sessions are on Zoom, so there's no drive time or anything else. So it really legitimately is those 8 hours. And yeah, and let's just say, I do bundles and other things, but let's just say they're paying my high rate for per session. It's $115 an hour. I do, like I said, bundles and things that make it less expensive, but just for these intents and purposes, let's just highball it. So 115 a session times 8, $920. So not only is it, God, it's like somewhere around like 20% of the cost and 10% of the time. The main reason I'm breaking this down is because most people will not think twice to book a healthcare professional on their insurance plan or to commit to a year of talk therapy to resolve something and consider it a justifiable, normal, okay expense for their mental health. And it totally is. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying there might be alternatives that work better and faster and also cost less, even if it seems like they cost more. Because a lot of people will say to me, like, oh, but with insurance, I can go see a psychologist and I can just pay, my 20, 40, 60, whatever copay. And your sessions are like $115. Like, yeah, but how many times are you going to need to see that person that costs less? How much time are you going to spend doing it? I have a lot of life clients, people that have things that they always want to work on. And some of it's because of them having really traumatic pasts and a lot of baggage and things to work on. And some of it's just because they're people that constantly want to be at their best and like the assistance that I give them in doing so. And the results they get from working with me regularly. But when it comes to people that have a specific thing they want to work on, there's usually a finite amount of EFT sessions that are needed to get to the bottom of it. And I'm not saying that it couldn't be more than 8. I'm just saying at this point in my career as a practitioner, I've never needed more than that in order for somebody to be very satisfied with where they are in their progress with it, whatever that improvement looks like for them. And it's more measurable. It's really hard to measure progress a lot of times with talk therapy, but we have scales and things that we use to track results with EFT and talk therapy combined that actually allow us to know, like, hey, like we made X amount of progress with this, and that's awesome. So just some things to weigh and consider as you are looking at your options for your best mental health care, because there's so many options. And it can be mind-boggling and it can be really hard. And sometimes, and I know because, I've been there for myself, I've been there for my kids, I've been there for loved ones that have needed to select people to help them through things that are difficult. And sometimes it's easier to be like, well, who's on my insurance plan? Because it narrows the pool, and then it's like, well, at least I know they're licensed, they're insured, they're covered, they're whatever. And I only have these 3 people to choose from. So eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Where am I going to go spend my 80 hours? Don't do that. Look at your options. And I'm not saying like I am your best option. I might be, and, if I'm still taking on one-on-one clients at the time that you watch this, I hope you will seek out a discovery session and see if we're a good fit. But you got to think outside the box when it comes to your emotional health, because there are so many ways to resolve issues of your past, issues in your present, things that pop up unexpectedly. And I have gotten some of the best results in my life when I have thought outside of the box instead of just going along with what society or my insurance plan expects me to do. So I hope that's helpful. If you have questions about EFT as a mode of therapy, or if it applies to the issues that you deal with or whatever you're going through, please ask. I'm happy to have a conversation about that and to let you know. It may or may not be a fit for you, but when you think about the fact that it can be applied to literally anything you can feel, it has a pretty broad application ability. So thanks for watching. Have an awesome day, and I welcome your questions and further conversation on this topic.